honor to God who's the head of my life, and I bear witness that regardless of land, labor, or language, there is but one God. I also want to give thanks to the pastor for inviting me, the church members, other elected officials, and everyone in attendance. A little bit about myself. I'm a 1987 graduate of West Memphis High School, United States Navy, Reserve veteran, honorable discharge. Also married for this is my 23rd year being married. We have 4 children, 2 sons, 2 daughters. By profession, I'm a respiratory care practitioner or respiratory therapist. I work in the vent unit at Signature St. Francis, which is a unit where we wean patients that come in on the ventilator, and our job is to get them off the ventilator and get them off the tray and get them, out and sent home or wherever they're going. My political status, I'm a former city alderman. I served on the city council with Mr. Coleman, and also I worked 4 years, Ms. Thomas, as a deputy coroner, so I guess I couldn't be too afraid of dead people.
Good job.
I also own a security company in Memphis, Tennessee. It's called Tennessee Traffic and Patrol. We do armed and unarmed security services for businesses or individuals or what have you, whether it be on a temporary basis or a contractual basis. We do that as well. I'm also a quorum court justice or justice of the peace in Crittenden County. I serve with Mr. John Thomas, and as he said, get out and help him. We need him on the court. He's an asset to the court. Listen, I don't want to serve without him. He's a very good man, and I think we need him on the court. So if he's in your district, not in your district, put the word out to get him re-elected to the quorum court. Okay? So I don't know. I may have some opposition myself. I don't know that yet. We'll know by the end of tomorrow. Well, by the end of tomorrow noon, who all has opposition or not. But regardless, Mr. Thomas, Justice Thomas, is someone we need on the court. All right. Now, my political ideology, the way I see it, I wrote and sponsored a ordinance on the quorum court to create an economic development committee. And I wrote that ordinance, sponsored it, and it passed, and I'm the chairman of that committee now. Now, I understand this. We had people talking about crime and black-on-black crime, and which is an anomaly because the number 1 killer of blacks is blacks, the number 1 killer of whites is whites, the number 1 killer of Asians is Asians. It is because these are the people that you're closest to. Not that we should not care about that, but to reduce crime, you have to have opportunities for education, economics, and health care. And health care includes psychiatric care. A lot of people sick, mentally. And that's a lot of the problem, as well as economic opportunities not being available or educational opportunities not being available. So those 3 things will reduce crime. Okay? I'm offended in the city because we live in a city that's about 70% black. On the West Memphis Police Department, we have approximately about 100 officers, maybe 8 to 10 are black. Okay. About 90 firefighters or so, somewhere in that area, about 12 are black. I'm offended. Okay, that's not good. Somebody needs to be addressing those issues. Okay. Another thing, with the latest issue on the quorum court, you all may be aware of, is the 1% sales tax that the hospital board wants the quorum court to put on the ballot for you to decide to pay a 1% sales tax, as they say, to keep the hospital open. I don't have a problem with voting for you to have your voice heard and you make the decision, but I don't agree with the 1% sales tax, because if we get that, we'll be a little bit more than what Memphis is now. And here's the other thing. There's some other options that they should have put on the table that they didn't. And I brought those things up. I know the Times didn't carry that. They can't carry everything. I understand that. But here's the thing. They said that they had been seeing this slip for about 10 years. The hospital finances slipped for about 10 years. Why didn't they file bankruptcy? Chapter 9 bankruptcy allowed them to reorganize their finances and keep the doors open. Delta Airlines did it, American Airlines did it, Trump Enterprises did it, and all the doors stayed open. Delta's still flying, American Airlines is still flying. Oh, GM did it too. So bankruptcy is not a bad thing, but I don't think that we should have to pay for them to mismanage more of our money. There's nothing in place to say that even if they get the 1% sales tax, that the hospital will stay open. They admitted that. Now that wasn't in place. They admitted if they got the $30 million over 5 years, they said, we don't know if this will work or not. So why create a slush fund for them to break up deals and then beat it out of town? I don't think we ought to do that. Another thing is, back to the city, I think on the electrical department, we don't have any blacks. Now that's the utilities. And I think when I was on the council, we may have had one black on the utility electrical division, which is probably some of the highest paid people in the city. None. But then again, the city is run by a mayor that's 80, 81 years old from Jim Crow era.
Amen.
I mean, what else? I mean, from the Deontay Farrell and before to the numbers that you see and that I can, we can go on and on about the numbers. It's time for a change, and that's why I'm running for mayor. I'm running for mayor of West Memphis in 2014 this year because I feel that I have the plan on what it takes to put us in a parity of economic development, good health care, and education opportunities, which would, going to take some time, but would even begin to even the playing field. Right. But you got to have somebody with the courage to tell the truth. I'm just going to tell you the truth and to speak truth to power. I've demonstrated that time and time again. Speak truth to power. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people. Okay? It's uncomfortable if you're afraid. It's uncomfortable if you've accepted money from people that don't mean you any good. Then all these things become uncomfortable. So I'm going to organize our campaign right after the primary, and we're going to get the rolling. And I need y'all support because again, we live in a city that's 66 or almost 70% black. Why shouldn't we be running? They said majority rule. And that can mean a couple of things, but why shouldn't we be running it? And we need somebody like myself to run the city that's going to do the right thing. I'm not here to put anybody, in the poorhouse. If you have ever kept up with me, I hadn't talked about disenfranchising anybody, but only to even the playing field for you. Because, what is the city, 85, 90 years old? You've been neglected for 85 or 90 years. Amen. Your community, you've been underrepresented. We got 6 blacks on the city council. Very hard. There's a lot of things could be done with those numbers. Amen. Okay? That hadn't got done. We got, on the quorum court, we have 6 blacks, but it's a little bit different on the quorum court. On the quorum court, when it comes to appropriations of the movement of money, all you need is 5 votes to stop the movement of money, 5 out of 13. So, because any movement of money takes 2/3 vote. And we can't get it done there either. Because, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get ready to close. It is because we don't want to offend white people. Amen. Even when it's against our best interest. Amen. Or when it's for our best interest. Amen. We just don't want to offend white people. And they don't mind offending us. Amen. But we don't want to offend them. And it's not my goal to offend them, but my goal is to represent us and to benefit and represent our interests. That's what they do. You can't argue that. If you can see it. I mean, if this is something that's tangible. If you're in politics or not in politics. If you're in the plumbing industry, I'm sure he was faced with some racism and some discrimination. 65 years old, you can't live in America and say you hadn't been. Man. Just can't. You've been dishonest if you say you haven't. See, because all of us know better. Everybody know better. I don't give anybody a pass. Everybody knows better. So we ain't going to give nobody no pass. What we want you to do is do the right thing. Let's represent our interests. Let's get in this mayor's seat. Want to work with everybody on the council. And let's even the playing field. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some time to do that. But if we want our children to be safe, we want our children to have the opportunities that are available, then they got to see strong leadership. They got to see somebody they can look up to. And we got to stop begging for what we want, and let's build what we want and need.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and with that, again, join me on Facebook. I'm going to give everybody a card if I can before I leave. Just Hubert Bass, if you're on Facebook, join me on Facebook. We're putting out a lot of things on Facebook as far as the campaign is concerned. And again, I need your support. I want to work with everybody, but only thing I can guarantee you this: I will not let you down, and I will represent your interests, and I will not sell you out. I don't have a record of doing that. It ain't going to start now. Thank you for listening.